So the thing about school is this, we're all fed the same narrative. Find your passion, stick to one thing, turn it into a career, be obsessed, yada yada yada. And that sounds noble, but there's a hidden assumption baked in that everyone feels interest the same way. Newsflash, they don't. Some people get obsessed with a single path and never look up. Those are the lucky ones. Others come alive when people are around. Some feel most interested when they're fixing things quietly in the background. Others don't care about topics as long as they care about problems to solve. When your wiring doesn't match the template, you internalize it as failure. Then you gaslight yourself by saying, I'm lazy, I'm scattered, I'm just mid, boring. Everyone else seems to know what they like, I don't. But in reality, a big chunk of that mismatch can be explained by temperament. This is what the DISC model, popularized in the book Surrounded by Idiots, call your color personality. Let me show you. You have a mix of all four, but you usually lead with one or two. The important part of this video is that each color experiences interest and meaning differently. Each color is attracted to different kinds of stimulation, risk, and reward. Each color feels alive in different situations. So if you're judging yourself by another color's standard, you'll conclude that you have no interest when in reality, you're just living against your own grain. Our modern world takes a very cookie cutter approach to things. School rewards sitting still, following instructions, and being average at everything. Social media rewards loud, fast, expressive, main character type behavior. Hustle culture worships the loudest reds and the most charismatic yellows. But if you're not built like that, you'll get quietly gaslit. As a red, you're punished for challenging authority, so you learn to turn your drive inward and call it anger or boredom. As a yellow, you're ashamed for having 10 interests instead of one, so you call it shiny object syndrome instead of idea driven curiosity. As a green, you're told your love of stability and small, simple pleasures is laziness, so you call it no passion or no ambition. As a blue, you're drowned in chaotic noise and speed, so you call your withdrawal apathy instead of hunger for depth. The system is colorblind in the worst way. It pretends everyone should find meaning in the same shape. But when your natural pattern doesn't fit that shape, you don't attack the system, you attack yourself. I must just not be an interesting person. I guess I don't really like anything. I wish I was as passionate as them. You aren't empty, you're just mismatched. So before we go color by color, I want to plant one idea in your mind. Most people don't find their passion. They get honest about the kind of stimulation their nervous system actually responds to. Some brains get lit up by risk and responsibility. Some brains get lit up by connection and play. Some brains love safety and routine. Other brains love complexity and precision. We call all of these interests, but they feel completely different internally. If you're a green expecting red style obsession, you'll think you're dead inside. If you're a blue expecting yellow style excitement, you'll think you're broken. If you're a red focused into blue style perfectionism, you'll think you're lazy. If you're a yellow forced into green style stability, you'll think you're inconsistent. Now, I have good news for you. You're not. So let's break this down. In the next section, I'm going to walk through each color and show you how the world has taught you to misrepresent your temperament, how that turns into I have no interest, and what meaning and curiosity actually looks like for your type when you stop fighting yourself. And once you see the pattern clearly, having interest stops being this mystical external thing that you have to chase and becomes something you recognize in how you've always been. Reds. These are the I only care when it matters type. So they're wired for challenge, impact, and control. They don't get genuinely interested in hobbies that don't move a needle somewhere. They come alive when there's a real problem to solve, a visible result, a sense of risk or responsibility. The school version of sit down, be quiet, follow the worksheet kills this. You're told to stop arguing, stop questioning, stop trying to bend reality to your will. So what happens? You start to associate your natural drive with anger or restlessness. You're told you're too intense, too much, or too impulsive. You learn that life is a series of tasks someone else hands you. Of course, nothing feels interesting. You were never meant to get excited about just busy work. For Reds, interest often looks like wanting to fix a broken system at work instead of doing your job description. Getting obsessed with a project only when you're the one in charge. Feeling more alive in crisis than in comfort. And if that's you, you don't lack interest. What you lack is autonomy and stakes. You'll find meaning when you start doing things, like starting projects on your own, taking ownership, choosing environments where you're judged by outcomes, not obedience. The fix isn't a cute hobby. It's put yourself in situations where your decisions actually matter. Yellows are the I like everything and nothing type. These people are wired for human interaction, so other people, ideas, and stimulation. They experience interest as burst, an exciting idea, a new person, a fresh environment. They're multi-passionate by default. The problem is that the world worships consistency and linear paths. So when you get obsessed about a topic for 3 weeks and drop it, bounce between friend groups or platforms, or you love brainstorming but hate the execution part of it, you get labeled as flaky, unserious, or having shiny object syndrome. Eventually, you start to agree with these accusations, and then you start thinking, maybe I don't actually care about anything, or maybe I just like the idea of things. But you see, there's nuance. A yellow's interest is exploratory, not possessive. You're meant to sample widely, connect dots, keep things light enough to move. That's you. Yellows, their interest often looks like being focused on a conversation more than the underlying subject. Caring more about how something is communicated, not just what. Getting energy from starting, sharing, and riffing, then losing energy when it becomes repetitive. You don't lack interest. You lack permission to be a connector instead of a specialist. If you want to find meaning, you need to start building communities or audiences around broad themes, turning your curiosity into expressions. So posts, videos, conversations, storytelling. Accept that your role might be to spark and share more than to grind in one narrow lane for 30 years. The fix isn't pick one niche and force yourself to love it, or pick one job and force yourself to love it. It's designing a life where variety is a feature, not a bug. Greens. Now, these are the chill personality type. Greens are wired for stability, support, and harmony. They're not driven by extremes. They don't need everything to be epic to care. They like predictable routines, familiar people, slow, quiet progress. Self-help culture has absolutely steamrolled this temperament. You're told to go all in, go monk mode. If you're not obsessed, you don't want it enough. So your natural preference for steadiness gets misdiagnosed as laziness, lack of ambition, no real interest. Greens often like things that don't look impressive on social media. Things like gardening, cooking, behind the scenes roles, long-term loyalty to a place, craft, or group. But because those aren't framed as passion in the loud online world, you devalue them. For a green, interest looks like this: feeling deeply attached to people and environments rather than ideas and projects. Being interested in supporting others' mission more than having your own main character story. Enjoying repetition when it builds comfort or mastery. You don't lack interest. What you lack is a narrative that respects calm lives. You'll find meaning by leaning into roles that make things run smoothly. So operations, care, maintenance, teaching, long-term service type. Owning the fact that you like slow, sustainable growth more than chaos and hype. Measuring your life by depth and relationships, not by how exciting your interests look from the outside. The fix isn't to be more intense. It's to stop apologizing for wanting a small, stable, meaningful life. Blues, the nothing is fun because everything is shallow type. So blues are wired for depth, precision, and systems. They get interested when they can understand how something works at a deep level, see the whole system, refine, correct, and optimize. Modern life, especially modern content, is hostile to this. Everything is fast, everything is simplified, everything is good enough if it gets a click. If you're blue, you're constantly fed half baked ideas, bad arguments, sloppy thinking. So you feel this as a kind of low level disgust and disengagement. So you withdraw. You lurk, you scroll, but almost nothing feels worth committing to. You start saying things like, nothing really interests me. All of this feels dumb. I don't know what I like. But the truth is, you don't want more things. You want things done properly. For blues, interest looks like this: obsessing over niche details other people gloss over, enjoying building systems, frameworks, or libraries more than being seen, preferring to perfect something in private rather than share something rough in public. You don't lack interest, you lack environments that reward depth over speed. If you want to find meaning, you need to choose domains where accuracy and structure matter. So we're talking about coding, analysis, design, research, operations. Feels like that. STEM. Giving yourself permission to go deep on boring topics. Treating your urge to refine as a gift, not as a social handicap. The fix isn't force yourself to enjoy chaotic environments. It's step into lanes where your standards are an asset, not a burden. So what do you actually do with this? At this point, a few things should be clear. You don't experience interest like everyone else, and that's fine. A lot of your I don't care about anything feeling is misalignment between your color and your environment. The system you grew up in is rewarding certain colors and punished others, so you learn to distrust your own pattern. Here's a simple way to start untangling all of this. You need to figure out your dominant color, or your top two. You need to ask yourself, do I crave challenge and control? Then that's a red. Do I crave people and ideas? That's yellow. Do I crave stability and harmony? That's more green. Do I crave depth and precision? That's a blue. Write down 3 times in your life when you actually felt alive. Moments where time disappeared, as they say. Look for moments, not topics. So when you led something, when you were deeply researching something, when you supported this team or that team, when you were just talking to people about a whole lot of stuff. Notice the patterns and notice how you're engaged. That pattern is your real interest style. And from there, the question isn't what should my interest be? It should be, given the way I'm wired, what environments, problems, and roles naturally help me to be curious? You don't need to manufacture a passion from scratch. You need to stop gaslighting the way your nervous system is already trying to show you what it cares about. You were never uninterested. You were mismeasured. Meaning has always been a pattern, not a topic. Some people are interested in winning, some people are interested in connecting, some people are interested in caring, some people are interested in understanding. All of these are valid ways to be alive. So, the question is no longer what should I be interested in. The real question is what kind of problems, people, and environments naturally wake up my nervous system, and how can I give myself more of that without apologizing for it? You don't need to find a passion drop from the sky. You need to stop treating your genuine, repeatable fascinations as accidents. Once you see your color clearly, you will stop chasing someone else's version of a meaningful life. You'll realize 2 things. 1, you've had interest this entire time. They just didn't fit the poster on the classroom wall. And 2, life gets a lot more meaningful when you stop trying to be a different type of human and start building the kind of life you're actually wired to fall in love with. You actually have interest. You don't think you do because you've been taught to ignore the shape of your own.